Hello and welcome to another edition of Stockwatch. So we've seen in the last few months that the pharmaceutical companies have been at the forefront of the vaccination race, and obviously they've been hitting the headlines in most of 2020 as well, since we had the first lockdown of the pandemic. So it's a case of who's going to come out first and who's going to be more efficient. So Johnson & Johnson have had their phase 3 trials approved recently, and it's seen that their injection or antidote needs only one dosage, whereas Pfizer, Moderna and other pharmaceutical companies need 2 dosage. So a lot of companies are trying to get ahead of each other, and obviously there is a little bit of a slow vaccination rollout in certain parts of the world, especially across Europe at the moment. So this has come it's come at a bad time for market sentiment especially, but Pfizer has now pledged to add more vaccinations and deliver up to 75 million more dosage of its antidote to the European Union, especially in the second quarter. So this is over 50% than originally planned. So you can see what the big rush is to get these vaccinations out and into the market as soon as possible. Pfizer said it would increase productions of its shot with a new facility set to open in central Germany within the next couple of months, and that will have the capacity to produce 750 million more vaccination dosages a year. So they released a statement yesterday in response to increased global demand, and they plan to manufacture 2 billion doses of their vaccination in 2021, and this is up by 1.3 billion dosage. So the news comes after German Chancellor Angela Merkel said that the 16 heads of state in the EU countries are due to hold crisis talks after immunization programs in cities in several countries, including France, Spain and Portugal, suspend inoculations due to supply constraints. So, you've probably heard in the headlines the last few days that supply constraints have been restricted to a lot of countries, and this is obviously causing concerns with economic growth and a possible rebound in 2021 that a lot of countries are hoping that they're going to achieve. Looking into the summer months as well, where more and more countries want to add tourism to their GDP growth, it has to be a big red flag for a lot of the leaders in the Eurozone as we go into 2021. Separately on Monday, German pharmaceutical and life science company Bayer said it is to expand its agreement to help CureVac produce its experimental COVID shot and expects to produce 160 million dosages. So the Germany-based CureVac struck a partnership with Bayer last month and started stage testing of its experimental shot in December. And it's expected to have its first results in the first quarter of 2021. So is this basically a sign of things to come in the pharmaceutical region, with companies working together to form partnerships to tackle the ever-increasing demand of the increased COVID pandemic that seems to be continuously pushing higher and higher? In the UK recently, we saw the R number drop, but with lockdowns becoming more stringent, the public want the lockdowns to be lifted, measures to be lifted as well as curfews. So we'll see how that plays into the forefront. So just take a quick look at Pfizer first of all. So what I'm looking at the moment, I just added these details in. So we had the recent optimism the 9th of November where Pfizer got its vaccination approved, licensed, and then we had the big surge in optimism obviously at the back end of 2020. But now we're looking at prices waning. It looks like a lot of investors are pricing in this news where we get a bit more of vaccination progress. So what I'm looking for at the moment is this gap on the 9th of November, this prominent gap. If prices start to fall back down below that gap, then I'll be looking to see fresh lows like we have done before the optimism. And this will be a nice sell position that I'll be looking at here, and a take profit at the lower end of $30. So just looking to see it drop $3 or $4 if it does start piercing this resistance line here, this support line here, and then I'll be looking further downside for Pfizer in the long run. As I said, a lot of investors look like they've already priced in this information, so it's not really a big surprise. Looking at Bayer as well, I'm just seeing now prices start to move upwards. If I just zoom out a little bit more, we just saw quite a descending channel up until the vaccination progress, which was in the 9th of November, like a lot of other companies. But if we just zoom in again, we just see not much of a shift to the upside, as we did with Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson and other companies. So now I'm just going to be looking to see if prices start moving a little bit lower. We've got a bit of a bearish divergence here, which could start bringing prices down, touching the Ichimoku cloud as well. I always use this indicator just to give me a little bit of a heads up at what levels we can expect some support and resistance, and also entry and exit levels as well. So if prices do start forming and hitting the top border of the cloud, I'll expect cloud engulfment and then a drop down to the lower region as well. So just certain things to look out for in the pharmaceutical industry and on not just American pharmaceutical companies, but European based as well. So that's all from the Stock Watch today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have any comments or queries, please add them to the post and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great trading day ahead, and bye for now.